Princess Power Part 1 The Princess's Spa Day Chapter 1 The Invitation. It was a rare morning in the Mushroom Kingdom when Princess Peach, feeling the weight of her royal duties and constant threats from Bowser, decided it was time for a break. She glanced out her window, the sun shining brightly over the castle, casting a warm glow over the landscape. This was the perfect day to unwind. "Daisy! Rosalina!" she called out, her voice brimming with excitement as she ran towards the castle's grand hall, where her two fellow princesses were gathered. "I've decided it's time for a spa day." Daisy, lounging on a throne with a lazy smirk, raised an eyebrow. "A spa day? Sounds boring," she said, flipping her hair dramatically. "I'm more of an extreme sports kind of girl." Peach pouted slightly. "It's a day of relaxation, Daisy, a chance to unwind and escape all the chaos, even if just for a few hours." Rosalina, sitting serenely by a window with a book, raised her gaze slowly, her calm demeanour offering a perfect contrast to Daisy's fiery energy. "I'd be open to it," Rosalina said thoughtfully, her voice soft like a breeze. "It would be nice to take a break from my work at the observatory." Peach smiled broadly. "Great! I'll call ahead and make the arrangements." Chapter 2 Spa Shenanigans. The spa was nestled in a peaceful corner of the Mushroom Kingdom, surrounded by lush gardens and babbling streams. Upon arrival, the princesses were greeted by toad attendants who offered them fluffy robes, towels, and a tour of the luxurious facilities. The spa promised deep relaxation with calming music, therapeutic massages, and mineral baths. Peach sighed with contentment as she sank into a large armchair in the lounge. "This is exactly what I needed," she said, her body already beginning to relax. Daisy, however, was already bouncing around with excitement. "This place is nice, but I'm not here to just lounge around," she declared. "I'm going to try every single treatment, and I'm going to beat all of you at them." "Daisy, don't overdo it," Peach warned. But it was too late. Daisy was already dragging Rosalina off to a mud bath, declaring a spa showdown. Rosalina raised an eyebrow, but followed with a shrug. After all, the idea of relaxing in mud didn't sound so bad. Did it? As Daisy and Rosalina settled into the mud bath, Peach found herself next to a soft massage table. She closed her eyes and let the masseuse work her magic. Everything seemed perfect until a loud crash echoed through the room. "Watch out!" Daisy's voice rang out. Peach sat up abruptly, only to see Daisy and Rosalina in a heated tennis match in the spa pool. "What are you two doing?" Peach exclaimed, rushing over to the poolside. "I'm showing Rosalina how to really have fun." Daisy grinned mischievously, swinging a tennis racket wildly. Rosalina, using her cosmic powers to float above the water, gracefully returned every shot with perfect precision. The toads running the spa could only watch in horror as Daisy's ball ricocheted off the water and knocked over several vases. At that moment, Mario and Luigi entered the spa carrying a massive package wrapped in golden ribbon. They were greeted by the spa staff, who immediately began to apologize for the chaos. "Hey, Peach, we got something for you from the Mushroom Kingdom residents," Mario said cheerfully, completely oblivious to the pandemonium. Thanks," Peach replied, her eyes still wide as she watched Daisy narrowly miss hitting Rosalina with a tennis ball. The brothers pulled out the package, revealing a large gold statue of Princess Peach towering over them. "It's for your royal contribution, Peach," Luigi said, looking sheepish. "But, we kinda didn't realize it was this big." Peach's eyes widened. That's beautiful, but where do we put it?" The answer was clear immediately. Nowhere. The spa was far too small to fit the statue without blocking every single entrance. Soon, Mario, Luigi, and the Toads were tasked with trying to figure out how to move the enormous statue, which only added more confusion to the already chaotic scene. Chapter 3 A Princess-Sized Disaster. With Daisy refusing to let up on her competitive spirit, the spa experience devolved into a full-fledged series of Princess Challenges, where Daisy insisted on seeing who could endure the longest facial treatment without sneezing, who could drink the most herbal tea without making a face, and who could resist the urge to complain during a mud bath. Rosalina took it all in her stride, maintaining a calm air as she played along. Peach, however, struggled to maintain any sense of peace amidst the madness. "Please, can we just relax for a moment?" Peach asked, attempting to meditate. But Daisy, ever the whirlwind of energy, insisted that it wasn't a real spa day unless there was some sort of competition involved. The Toads attempted to bring in more relaxing activities like yoga and soft music, but Daisy kicked it all into high gear. She even challenged Rosalina to an impromptu race through the spa's garden maze, with Mario and Luigi reluctantly serving as referees. By the time the day ended, the spa was a complete disaster. The golden statue had been knocked over and was now wedged between the walls of the spa's steam room. The Toads had finally given up on trying to maintain any order, and Mario and Luigi could only shake their heads as they helped Peach and Rosalina out of the chaos. "Well, that was something," Peach sighed as she pulled her robe tighter around herself. Daisy, drenched but beaming, looked at her friends with a grin. "Best day ever," she declared. Peach could only smile in response, her nerves already starting to fray. Part 2. The Princess's Escape Room Challenge. Chapter 4. Sarasaland Escape Room. "I can't believe we survived that spa day," Rosalina said quietly as the group walked through the sunny streets of Sarasaland the next day. "We need something a bit more engaging." "Well, I've got just the solution," Daisy said with a wink. "I've designed an escape room for us to try out. It's high-tech, challenging, and totally fun. Plus, I've been working on a new puzzle. No one can beat me at it." Peach and Rosalina exchanged dubious looks. Daisy's fun always seemed to involve some level of chaos, but neither of them could resist her enthusiasm. Mario and Luigi agreed to come along, though neither looked particularly thrilled about it. The escape room was housed inside an old palace in Sarasaland, its exterior designed to look like a mysterious temple. The interior was filled with intricate puzzles, hidden clues, and strange mechanical devices. There were glowing symbols on the walls and enigmatic doors leading to different rooms, each promising a new challenge. Chapter 5. Escaping Chaos. As soon as they entered, Daisy took charge. "All right, I'll solve this first puzzle," she declared confidently. "Everyone else just follow my lead." "Daisy, remember what happened at the spa?" Peach said with a nervous laugh. "Maybe we should take our time, figure things out together." But Daisy had already raced ahead, solving the first few puzzles in mere moments, leaving Peach and Rosalina scrambling to keep up. Mario and Luigi were also trying to catch up, but Daisy's enthusiasm quickly overwhelmed them. "I think the key to this puzzle is the star pattern," Rosalina said, her calm demeanour beginning to break down as the room filled with increasingly ridiculous contraptions. Peach tried to help, but her accidental steps activated a massive Goomba that started chasing them. Rosalina, using her cosmic powers, levitated out of the way while Daisy darted into a new room, completely ignoring the Goomba. "I'll deal with this," Daisy shouted from the other side of the room. Peach and Rosalina watched on as Daisy jumped into a giant mechanical cannon, causing a chain reaction that unlocked the next puzzle, by sheer accident. By the time they made it to the final room, they were all out of breath. Daisy's chaotic brilliance had led them to success, even if it wasn't exactly the plan. Chapter 6. The Final Puzzle. In the final room, the princesses and Mario and Luigi stood before a giant cannon. The exit was on the other side of a massive wall, and the only way to break through was to launch fireballs at it. "You're all going to love this," Daisy said with a grin, climbing into the cannon. "Let's do this." "No, Daisy, wait!" Peach shouted, but it was too late. Daisy fired a fireball that ricocheted off a wall and hit a Goomba statue, causing the wall to tremble, but not collapse. "This isn't the plan," Peach groaned, while Rosalina calmly calculated the angles. Let's just keep firing until it works, Daisy shouted again. And so, with the fireballs flying and the walls shaking, it was Luigi's panic-induced button press that triggered the final mechanism. The door opened, and they had escaped, not because of Daisy's plan, but because of Luigi's accidental heroics. Well, that was a bit much, Luigi muttered, wiping his brow. Daisy, next time let's try something less dangerous, Peach suggested, exhausted but relieved. But Daisy's grin never faltered. I'm already thinking of the next challenge. Part 3. The Princesses Save the Day. Sort of. Chapter 7. Bowser's Surprise Attack. The excitement of their escape room adventure was barely over when the princesses returned to Peach's castle, hoping to unwind and take a moment to reflect, but as they entered the grand hall, they were met with an unexpected sight. Bowser's minions had taken over the castle. The toads were cowering, the throne was upturned, and an ominous laughter echoed through the halls. Bowser! Peach gasped, her face paling. How did he? Doesn't matter, Daisy snapped, instantly springing into action. It's time to show these guys who's boss. Wait, Daisy! Peach cried out, but it was too late. Daisy had already charged forward, grabbing a broomstick and swinging it around as though it were a weapon. The other princesses had no choice but to follow. Rosalina, ever the strategist, took a moment to analyse the situation. We must handle this carefully. There's no need to rush in recklessly. But Daisy was already on the attack. Reckless is how I do it, Rosalina, she called out, knocking over a few Bowser minions with a flurry of wild broom swingings. Peach, despite her calm and collected demeanour, couldn't help but follow Daisy's lead. All right, I guess there's no time like the present. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi, who had just arrived to check on the princesses, found themselves swept into the mayhem. Peach, is this part of the plan? Mario asked, dodging a flying broomstick. No, Peach yelled as a Koopa Trooper tried to grab her from behind. This wasn't supposed to happen. Luigi, ever the cautious one, was already looking for an exit. Maybe we should just, I don't know, talk to Bowser. Maybe he's just here for a snack. But Bowser, roaring with laughter from the top of the staircase, made his dramatic entrance. Ha! You thought you could relax for even a minute? His voice echoed through the halls. It's time to make the Mushroom Kingdom bow before me. Chapter 8. Daisy Takes Charge. Daisy turned to face him, fists on her hips. Oh, no, you don't, Bowser, she shouted. You're not messing up my fun. We've got a spa day, an escape room, and now it's time for the ultimate showdown. Without another word, Daisy dashed forward, charging directly at Bowser, her soccer shills shining as she kicked a nearby cannonball right at him. Bowser dodged, just in time, but Daisy was relentless. Daisy, be careful! Peach cried out, watching in horror as Daisy launched herself into the air, attempting to knock Bowser off balance with a series of mid-air flips and kicks. Rosalina, meanwhile, took a different approach. She raised her hand, summoning cosmic energy to create barriers around the castle. We'll trap them inside until they calm down, she said, focusing her powers. The Bowser minions, however, were not so easily deterred. They continued to charge at the princesses, but Daisy was too quick and clever. She kicked another cannonball, knocking out several Goombas in one move. While Rosalina took control of the environment, Peach worked on distracting Bowser. Bowser, she shouted, trying to get his attention. You're wasting your time. The Mushroom Kingdom will never fall under your rule. But Bowser, with his usual overconfidence, laughed menacingly. You're all so foolish, Peach. You're just delaying the inevitable. Suddenly, Daisy launched herself into the air again, but this time it wasn't just with soccer kicks. She grabbed a nearby chain and swung from it like a wild acrobat, landing directly on Bowser's back. Gotcha! She yelled. Bowser growled in frustration, shaking his body violently to try and get Daisy off. As he did so, however, his minions were distracted. giving Peach and Rosalina the opportunity to trap them in cosmic energy shields. Chapter 9. The Heroic and Slightly Unplanned Victory. With Daisy still clinging to Bowser's back, Rosalina's cosmic powers took full effect, trapping Bowser's minions in large glowing spheres. They were immobilized, unable to move or escape. Peach rushed over to join her, trying to contain the situation with a calming presence.
Daisy, I think you've made your point,
Peach called out, reaching for her friend.
Not yet,
Daisy called back, hanging on for dear life.
This is the most fun I've had all day.
Finally, after a few more moments of chaotic scrambling, Bowser gave one last roar of frustration, attempting to break free, but it was no use. Daisy's persistent attacks and Rosalina's containment powers had weakened him. With one final push, Bowser was sent tumbling backward into the hall, narrowly avoiding the massive golden statue of Peach that had caused so much chaos earlier. The princesses and Mario and Luigi watched on in astonishment as Bowser, in defeat, scrambled to gather his minions. "This isn't over, princesses," he yelled before retreating out the door, the last of his minions following behind him. Peach let out a sigh of relief, her shoulders sagging in exhaustion.
Well, that was definitely not how I planned the day to go.
"Yeah," said Mario, catching his breath.
"I think we need a vacation from our vacation."
Daisy, grinning from ear to ear, jumped down from where she had been clinging to Bowser.
"You guys are no fun. I was just getting started." "You nearly got us all eaten by Goombas,"
Rosalina remarked dryly, brushing dust from her gown.
"But I suppose it worked out in the end."
Part 4. Celebrating the Chaos. Chapter 10. The Aftermath. After a quick clean-up, the princesses and Mario and Luigi gathered in the castle's dining hall to rest and discuss what had happened. The Toads, now safely out of harm's way, served them tea and cake.
"I've got to admit, I didn't think we'd make it out of that one,"
Peach said, finally smiling.
"But I guess sometimes things just happen in the Mushroom Kingdom."
Daisy, ever the optimist, leaned back in her chair.
"I told you I'd save the day, just like in the spa. No one can stop me when I'm on a roll." "You were certainly effective,"
Rosalina remarked, her usual calm voice tinged with amusement.
"Though perhaps a little too much."
Mario, who had been nursing a cup of coffee, chuckled.
"You know, I've seen a lot of wild things in the Mushroom Kingdom, but this was a whole new level of crazy."
Luigi, still somewhat shaken by the events, added,
"I don't know about you guys, but I think we've had enough excitement for 1 week. I'm gonna lie down somewhere quiet."
The group all laughed at Luigi's comment, and even Daisy's exuberant energy seemed to calm as they shared the moment. Chapter 11. The Final Laugh. As the group enjoyed their tea, Peach took a deep breath and looked around at her friends.
"Well, as exhausting as today was, I'm glad we could all be together. Sometimes the best part of being a princess isn't about royal duties. It's about friends and family."
Daisy grinned and stretched.
"Yep, and sometimes it's about making a mess and having fun while you're at it."
Peach couldn't help but laugh.
"I guess you're right, Daisy. Maybe next time, though, we can keep the fun a little quieter."
"Boring," Daisy teased. "Where's the excitement in that?" Just then, a loud crash echoed from down the hall, and the princesses turned to see Mario and Luigi struggling to move the enormous gold statue of Peach through the narrow hallway.
We could use some help here,"
Mario shouted, sweat dripping down his forehead as he tried to shift the heavy statue. Daisy, ever the prankster, casually leaned against the doorframe and waved.
"Well, maybe next time don't order such a big statue."
The rest of the group burst into laughter, and Peach, still trying to catch her breath from the chaos, smiled.
"Princesses, you truly do bring out the best and the most chaotic in me."
The group continued to laugh, with Mario and Luigi struggling in the background, the massive statue still in the way. The end. You've been listening to Tales from the Consoleverse, written by AI Chat GPT and read by yours truly, the Off-Rail Gamer. Do check back tomorrow. We're going to be back with another story. This time I think it's going to be set in Stardew Valley. Well, We'll confirm that tomorrow. Catch you later.